I want to make a quick video on personal alchemy and the changing nature of experience. And I'm making this because I've had a private conversation by email with somebody who was describing to me an experience that was powerful for them in a changework training. They've been taken through a process and it was very, very impactful for them, really made a huge difference. But then on repeating the process, didn't get nearly the same kind of impact from it. And that this had led to a certain degree, if I'm reading this right, of perhaps disillusionment in the process. Okay, so there was a tool here, a process that had a huge impact first time round, but not so much second time round. Okay, now this brought to mind an understanding that comes from Nei Dan. Nei Dan is Taoist internal alchemy. And Taoist internal alchemy is about self-transformation. Okay, it's a particular process for self-transformation. There's not one method of it, but it's something that I've personally been involved in or had either peripheral or direct contact with since my early 20s. But there's a lot to be learned from this process because it's about a process of self-transformation. Now with Taoist Nei Dan, internal alchemy, there's something that's often pointed out to people, and I think it's really significant here, it's that when people first start to do a certain sort of practice, because there's sort of layers to this practice, it's a developmental practice, it's a self-transformation across time. Often when people first engage with something, an element of the practice, it can have a really interesting effect, right? And with this process, there's a lot of internal work. Often as different things get activated, strong sensations can come about. So to really give a simple example of this, let's say the first time somebody starts to really feel their quote unquote chi, right? And if you're watching this thinking chi, mystical energy, doesn't matter. We're talking about a quality of experience. We're talking about something activating. We're talking about a quality of experience. Often when somebody first feels it, it can feel really strong, really powerful, really tangible. And it can be seductive, that feeling. It can lead us to go, wow, there's something really special here. I'm really making progress, and we can hold on to it. But that holding on to it, ultimately, it hinders, it stops, it interrupts a lot of people's process. So there's a saying from this world, this particular sphere, Nei Dan, but also you see it in Chinese internal martial arts, that in order to profit, you must invest in loss. So that means somebody who first starts to connect with, say, a strong chi feeling, if they hold on too much to that, they get stuck at that point of the process. And often it will diminish anyway. And if they think, oh no, I'm losing it, I haven't got, I haven't got hold of this mystical or magical thing anymore, that can become a hindrance in the process as well, because other things await. So when something has done its work, often, yeah, it's okay to move on. It's okay that it doesn't have the same impact. It's a bit like using a boat to cross a river. Once you use the boat to cross a river on a particular journey, you don't carry the boat on your back, okay, because it's going to weigh you down, and you don't need to cross that river again once you've crossed it. So oftentimes when it comes to like a changework process, a personal alchemical process, we're not looking to repeat the same things. We get the effect that we get. It takes us where it takes us, and then we are best served by letting go of that and opening ourselves to whatever's coming next, the next stage of the journey. Now, the person who asked this question, I think, if I'm reading this right, and of course this is just an email exchange, so I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of mind reading here. I may have the wrong end of the stick. But I think that their concern maybe have been that, well, this thing had a big effect, but maybe it was a fluke, maybe it was a freak, maybe it's not something that is always going to be so for everyone. This is true, by the way, with anything. Any process that you might take somebody through, if you learn changework processes, this kind of thing, catalytic processes, they're going to be different. They're going to be experienced differently for different people at different times. This is natural, okay? There isn't one way something should feel for people. Some people might be taken through a process and they get a very subtle effect in the moment, but it is hugely transformative for them. It sets them on a new course, different things unfold out. Other people might have a strong effect, but it doesn't actually impact their life that much. So there's often, the relationship, we're talking about a non-linear system. The size of the initial impact doesn't necessarily say anything about how it unfolds in life. And this actually is something that informs me a lot in how I approach change work, what I would call dialogic change work, dialogic neurolinguistic change work, is I'm often looking to get small shifts and turn those into big shifts rather than necessarily get huge wow experiences right off the bat. Of course, sometimes you get that and you want to have those carry forward into big shifts. But whatever shift you get in a session with a client, or whatever shift you get with yourself, if you're doing what you might call personal alchemy processes, the magnitude of that shift itself does not necessarily reflect upon the impact that it's going to have on your life. So sometimes it's how you work with that shift, however big, however small, that is going to dictate how it carries through into your life. And also what I would recommend is recognizing that you yourself, if you're doing personal alchemy stuff, or if you're working with other people, you're working with living dynamic systems. As we evolve through different phases, we will have different experiences, and it doesn't necessarily serve us to become overly attached to an experience that we have had. Let it be what it was in the time that it was, and then free yourself to move on to whatever glorious shifts and changes and possibilities are unfolding next. Okay, so if this has been a valuable video for you, or you've got a good insight from this into something or other, please do give it the thumbs up. Please do share it with people if you think they'll benefit. You can use the comments to ask me any questions about this. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet and you think, actually, this is the kind of stuff that I want to connect with more, please do subscribe to the channel. Please do hit the notifications bell. Beyond all of that, I look forward to when we next connect.